Our president is melting down. The continuing revelations from Michael Wolff's book are, shall we say, causing consternation in the White House. And, you know, appropriately so. I mean, there's some serious stuff being charged there. But it raises a pardon? That is never discussed in the media. And that is the idea of monarchy in the United States. I mean, we talked last week about how Donald Trump apparently actually believes that Bill Clinton and Barack Obama committed crimes to get to the White House and in the White House. And for that matter, apparently believes that Jack Kennedy did the same thing. And he believes that Bobby Kennedy and what would it have been, Loretta Lynch for Barack Obama, and who was Bill Clinton's head of the DOJ. He had a couple of them. But in any case, apparently believes that these DOJ officials, these attorneys general, were all there basically to protect the president rather than defend the Constitution, which is the oath that all federal officers take. So I wrote a piece this weekend that's up over at Alternet right now. It's titled Thom Hartmann, Time to Overthrow Our Rulers at alternet.org. And it's been picked up by a few other websites around the internet if you see it someplace else, which is just fine. And I start out by pointing to an article that Leslie Wayne wrote in the New York Times on, I think it was published on Saturday, it might have been Friday. Yeah, and it was an article about how countries like ours should have, according to the International Monarchist League, should have a royal family. And the reason, the argument that they make, and this is quoting from her article, countries with monarchies are better off because royal families act as a unifying force and a powerful symbol. Monarchies rise above politics, and nations with royalty are generally richer and more stable. Now, I would submit to you that that exact same argument is the rationalization that very wealthy, politically active people in the United States use to justify their wealth, to justify using their wealth to change the political dialogue in this country. I think that there's a difference between people on the left and people on the right, wealthy people on the left and wealthy people on the right who are doing this. I believe, my experience has been that the wealthy people on the left are simply trying to restore American democracy, to get us back to a country that works on behalf of all of us, that is, to paraphrase Abraham Lincoln, of, by, and for we the people. Whereas the oligarchs on the right, the very wealthy people on the right, are explicitly living out this neo-Calvinistic dream or fantasy or whatever you want to call it, that an economic monarchy is a good thing because wealthy people can rise above politics and be a unifying force for the nation, that wealthy people being in business can generate wealth, and that's a good thing, and that makes the country richer. And having an aristocracy like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett is just a fine, fine thing for America. I beg to disagree. I point out in the article, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, Donald Trump actually believes that Obama and Clinton and apparently JFK committed crimes while in office. Now, what I didn't get to when I earlier mentioned that was, why does he believe this? He apparently believes this because a billionaire oligarch who left Australia for the United Kingdom and then bought a bunch of the media in England, in Great Britain, and flipped it hard right, and in the process flipped much of the politics in the UK hard right, then came to the United States and bought the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post, and created Fox so-called News, and has flipped the politics of the United States hard right. And Fox so-called news apparently is where Donald Trump got this conviction, this belief that Obama committed crimes, that Clinton committed crimes, that JFK committed crimes, real serious high crimes and misdemeanors, things, you know, treason-like things. And therefore, he should be able to, too. There's also the issue of the corruption of our politics by the morbidly rich, so badly that a small group of billionaires have funneled so much money into our political sphere that so-called normal Republicans like Jeff Flake and Bob Corker, now they're both very toxic, they both want to destroy Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, but that's a normal Republican, at least in today's era. That normal Republicans are saying, hey, we couldn't get past a primary challenge. And the reason why, of course, is because the billionaires will fund the primary challengers. I mean, you know, your average right-wing nut job doesn't become an effective average right-wing nut job unless he's got a billionaire backer. This, you know, this was writ large back years ago. We had Peter DeFazio on this program, I think 6-8 years ago. He represents part of Oregon. There is an ex-high school chemistry teacher here in Oregon by the name of Art Robinson. And you can Google this. It's very humorous. Art Robertson believes, or believed, I assume he still does, that radiation is good for you. And so the solution to the radioactive waste problem in the United States is to turn it into home insulation. It generates a little bit of heat, plus, you know, maybe it insulates, I don't know. And that way we are all exposed to continuous low levels of radiation, which will make us somehow magically, what, immune to the bomb? I don't know. Everybody in Oregon, not everybody, most people in Oregon thought of Art Robinson as a crackpot. But he nearly beat Peter DeFazio the first time around. Why? Because a New York hedge fund billionaire that Peter DeFazio angered threw all this money at Art Robinson. And it's not, I mean, that's just like one example. That's happening all over the country continuously. This is why Jimmy Carter on this program said, America is no longer a democracy. We are now an oligarchy with unlimited political bribery. The former president of the United States. And nobody in our media, even on the so-called corporate left media, you know, the MSNBCs and whatnot, is willing to discuss the impact of petro-billionaires. I mean, they'll point out that Republicans deny climate change, but they never, ever say that Republicans deny climate change because they want to continue getting money from the Koch network or from other petro-billionaires, from the coal industry, from ExxonMobil. They never point out it has to do with money. There's no other reason that the Republicans would deny actual science. I mean, it's not like these Republicans are total Luddites. They actually do believe in science. When they get sick, they'll take antibiotics from their doctor. But, you know, hey, big money. And now we got Ryan Zinke and Scott Pruitt, the guys that the billionaire toady Mike Pence put in at Interior and EPA, dismantling our country as we speak. This is the impact of the morbidly rich on America, our aristocracy. In my opinion, it's time to overthrow that aristocracy, and we have a template for doing it from 1932.